training video for the Mint lift using Mint fines. There's markings for 12 of them. They're in line with the lateral iris of both eyes. The entrances are above and below the sideburns, as you see here, 3 of them. I inject 30 cc's of 0.5% lidocaine with epi 1 to 200,000, first with a 30 gauge 1-inch needle, then a 25 gauge, then a 22 gauge 3.5-inch spinal if you're comfortable with that. The Tumescent helps prevent the pain and bruising. I prep the face with HiPoCleanse. I put Tegaderm over the hair to keep the hair from following too much the barbed threads later. I place 3 1.5mm punch incisions so that there's 2 threads into each. When you're passing these, you fold over the end of the thread so it doesn't unravel early. You're passing right along these lines to the deep sub-Q. When you reach the mark, first you pull back on the skin, then you pull back on the cannula, letting go of the thread so the thread stays behind. The thread will always catch by itself. You repeat this for 6 fines, 2 per incision, and you're staying deep so they get no dimpling. You actually get more lift when you go deeper. It should be a painless plane. You're actually staying above the facial muscles, you're above the SMAS. You don't want to pull back on these cannulas until you reach the marks because they tend to unravel easily. You pull the cheek skin back over the threads and you're actually pulling the sideburn skin forward down, just not so much that it wrinkles too much. And then you tie these knots. Don't tie them so tight that it actually wrinkles the sideburn hair. Those wrinkles are actually hard to get rid of later. So you got to watch them while you're tying them. And then you cut right on the knots because otherwise these little sutures will try and poke through. You pull the skin off the knots just to make sure that they're buried, and then you pull the hair out of the holes because it gets stuck on the knots that you tied, and you'll be pulling them out. You repeat the process on the other side. Once again, 3 1.5mm holes. It's much better than 1mm holes. It's easier to work with. These always do heal fine. You always fold over thread and you hold with the thumb so that they don't unravel too easily. You're staying deep enough that you don't get any deep dimpling. You stop when you reach the mark, you let go of the threads and pull back first on the skin, then on the cannula. You put 2 threads per punch incision, so a total of 6 fines per side or 12 fines total. You pull the threads taut, and then you're pushing the cheek up on the barbs, and then you're pulling the sideburns sort of forward on the barbs as they're bidirectional barbs. You're tying them just not so tight that it wrinkles too much here because those wrinkles are hard to release later because of the knot is actually preventing the release. You always cut right at the knots where the threads may poke through the surface, and then you always have to release the skin off the knots with the pickups so the sutures are buried. You want to pull the hairs out of holes, they will always go into the holes. Clean the marks off with peroxide. The morning after, I just release the dimples. I don't like to do it right then and there because there's too much swelling, and I even put a little bit of filler sometimes. And she looks very pulled already. There's always 3 days of mild swelling, but very little discomfort.